Hello, you're watching news from Kazakhstan and I'm Marina Kim. The hunger strike in Pavlodar regional penal colony resulted in hospitalization. 25-year-old Sabina Mahitina refused to eat for 2 weeks, protesting against the leadership of the penal colony, which was supposedly pressuring her.
Several websites hosted a video of a female prisoner complaining about detention conditions. The woman says that after being transferred from Shymkent to Pavlodar, she was beaten and almost raped in the new prison. I'm not stopping my hunger strike as no measures have been taken. Blame prison head Bolat Nabiyev, operative department chief Sirik Aubakirov and Captain Daoud for my death. According to some sources, Sabina's legs are paralyzed and she had kidney problems as a result of ongoing hunger strike. The penitentiary system authorities do not confirm this and say that the inmate's condition is satisfactory, while facts cited on the video are under investigation. The law enforcers claim that Sabina Mihinina, convicted for drug-related crimes, is a complicated prisoner herself, as she was reprimanded 4 times in just 6 months, including for drug use. She was first reprimanded for hiding 5 replaceable razor blades, then for drug use, which was proven after a special analysis, then for having a cell phone, and finally for being caught in men's dorm at nighttime.
The Rizkaliyev brothers have not crossed the state border of Kazakhstan, at least until October 3rd. Atrau newspaper Akjaik published the response to the official inquiry made by the National Security Committee on Wednesday.
Between August 15th and October 2nd, 2012, the aforementioned individuals didn't cross the state borders of Kazakhstan. Contact the General Prosecution Office for further related inquiries. The information about Birgir Rizkaliyev, the ex-governor of Atrau region, and his brother Amanjan emerging in London was leaked on October 4th. The source of Kazakhstan Forbes claims that the 2 brothers were seen in one of London's restaurants. Back at home, a criminal case has been initiated against the former MP Amanjan Rizkaliyev on embezzlement charges, effectively placing him on the international wanted list.
Ex-mayor of Almaty Viktor Khrapunov is asking for political asylum in Switzerland. He made this statement in an interview to one of Swiss newspapers, where he previously refuted information that he supposedly has large amounts of money.
I shouldn't be on the list of rich people as we're well off, but not very rich, said Khrapunov. According to the ex-mayor, he never had a bank account in Switzerland, and he is confident that Geneva will not extradite him to Kazakhstan, since Swiss authorities understand that the case against him was fabricated. Khrapunov is accused of embezzling budget funds, bribery and abusing office, with a total of 20 related criminal cases under investigation. Recently, the Prosecutor General's office placed Khrapunov's wife Leila on its wanted list as well, suspecting her of fraud, as well as establishing and running an organized criminal group, along with her husband. The court also issued an arrest warrant for Khrapunov's family.
The relatives of the ex-son-in-law of the president Rahat Aliyev demand compensation from Kazakhstan for the amount of over $1 billion for expropriation of their assets.
French channel TF1 reports that the Karatube oil company, almost entirely owned by Da Vinci Kharani with 92% of its shares, asks for the compensation for the disposed oil fields in the Aktobe region. Notification regarding the matter have been sent to President Nazarbayev on October 18th. Per French legislation, this means that the defendant has been informed about the launch of litigation. TF1 also notes that the claim is in part motivated by a conflict between President Nazarbayev and the former Kazakh ambassador to Vienna, Rahat Aliyev, since Da Vinci Kharani is married to the sister of the disgraced former son-in-law of the head of state.
The views of authorities, liberals from opposition and national patriots have matched for the first time in political practice. The issue of customs union and that it represents a significant political and economic mistake for Kazakhstan was raised at different levels, even though the conditions of the customs union were known and no one made any state secret out of this. More details in the next report.
Nowadays, several opposing parties ended up on the same side regarding the customs union. No matter how you slice it, politically or economically, the union is just not that good of a solution. Even such long-standing enemies as Svoyik and Taijan agreed on that. We're losing economically the way things stand now. We can send raw materials to the Western China in exchange for Chinese goods. Why do we even need Russian goods? Our Declaration of Independence clearly states that Kazakhstan leads an independent foreign economic policy, but right now the country is deprived of that. Recently, President Nazarbayev said that the most important aspect of the customs union is not the creation of enterprises and launching productions, but actual trading. So supposedly the citizens of Kazakhstan are currently on the right track. Thanks to the customs union, the market potential for Kazakh manufacturers increased more than 10 times to almost 170 million people. This is an important incentive to diversify our economy. Representatives of the intellectual elite say they have been waiting for 5 years for the authorities to ask their opinion on integration, but the time passed and it appears that no one cared. Now, though, people like MP Piruashev, ruling party ideologist Karin and President's advisor Yirtysbayev are getting involved in the matter. Yirtysbayev's position is not really clear, since he first denounced everything that Yerlan Karin said regarding the union, but then admitted that Kazakhstan's business is having a hard time within the organization. Now Gani Kasimov, a loyal to the authorities senator, also appears to be on the fence. The key moment here is that there appear to be doubts, since the president blocked the transformation of the Eurasian Economic Community into Eurasian Union. In the past month, sportscaster Yermohamed Maulen turned into a real expert on the customs union. He's surprised that no one spoke of the issue for quite a long time, and then suddenly everyone began criticizing the integration. I think that there were some long debates about the integration among the presidents of Kazakhstan, Russia and Belarus, and I feel that criticizing the union is just someone's high order. Experts called the Wednesday's Almaty meeting customs union as a factor of new opportunities for Kazakhstan. Judging by the statements made, many people made up their opinions on the matter, but unfortunately no one has any alternative solution to the integration so far.
MP Rawan Shayekin claims that the bill on microcrediting organizations is in the form proposed after the amendments made by the Senate will not work. He believes that 16 billion provided for this sector will be wasted.
Shayekin started off with a criticism of the National Bank, which supposedly is not interested in the new bill and only cares about reporting on the implementation of President's orders. According to the MP, out of 1,173 microloan companies, only 700 are actually working, but even they concentrate on issuing consumer loans and not investments in agriculture. The MP even quoted the head of state, who said that the emphasis should be placed on the improvement of employment situation. What has changed in this law? Only 3 articles which introduced a state regulation overseen by the National Bank. That's it. There is nothing else. That means there is nothing that reflects what the leadership of the country says about the necessity of the employment situation improvement.
On Wednesday, MPs raised the issue of well-being of music school teachers and urban doctors. During the plenary session, they pointed on the gap between their salaries and the ones of officials from other departments.
Yesterday's parliament session was surprisingly heated. Deputies have put various issues on the agenda. Zhambul Akhmetbekov, a deputy from the Communist Party, demanded that teachers be treated equally. He said that the rights of teachers from musical schools were infringed upon. The leave time for teachers from musical schools has been cut down from 56 to 42 days as compared to their colleagues from regular schools. However, the working day is the same and the duration of lessons is standard. The deputy, who by the way is a guitar player himself, was most outraged about the difference in salaries. Teachers get an uplift depending on their qualification grade. The highest grade gives them 100% uplift to their base salary. The first grade gives them 50% salary increase and the second 30%. The uplifts for musical school teachers have remained the same: 60% for the highest grade, 35% for the first and 20% for the second. Nadezhda Petukhova, another parliament member, was concerned that medical workers leave the city hospitals and find jobs in Republican or even private medical institutions. The reason also lies in low salaries. She referred to statistics which showed that 1,200 workers have left the healthcare sector within 9 months in 2012. And this is happening at a time when new hospitals and clinics are built throughout the country.
Выделяются значительные средства на строительство в городе новых стационаров и поликлиник.
Significant funds are allocated for building new hospitals and clinics equipped with cutting-edge technologies. However, lack of medical specialists may result in decreased quality of medical services and idling of the high-cost equipment. This will result in health deterioration among the population. Lack of qualified medical staff is not the only problem that may pose a threat to the health of the people. According to some parliament members, new dopey substances have emerged on Kazakhstan drug market. MP Viktor Kiyansky tells that one can now get a new sort of drug in the clubs, both with accelerant gas that was only used for medical needs in the past. If we don't do anything about it, maybe tomorrow new balls with garlic gas will be sold or some other types of gases, as it happened in Aum-Shinrikyo sect in Tokyo. And the people in charge will once again be telling us that those things are not on the list of narcotic substances. MP made his statement even more dramatic by saying that according to mass media, the terrorists who had committed crimes in Kazakhstan were under the influence of psychedelic substances. Meanwhile, some sects abroad use hallucination drugs and tranquilizers in their rituals.
NGO representatives propose to involve people when discussing the state budget. Experts claim that MPs on the local level are unwilling to contact with the population. Meanwhile, Kazakh citizens also remain inactive. More details in the next report.
Timur Aktaev is a blogger. He claims to be actively monitoring the life of the city and social projects. Yet there are very few people like him. Our city is not open for suggestions. The initiatives are censored by a great deal of patriotism. It is not efficient because this great deal of patriotism is not in place. Only very few people still have it. I'm referring to the intellectual elite, but it is rather an older generation, the adults which aren't able to change, while the younger ones haven't grew up just yet. All in all, it takes centuries to raise the civic awareness. Nonetheless, even the active citizens aren't able to interact with the local authorities. This was outlined at the special forum in Almaty organized by the NGOs on Wednesday, urging the authorities to involve Almaty residents into budgetary discussions. People tend to believe that the budget is there by itself and has nothing to do with the population. In fact, it's meant to be inappropriately distributed. Therefore, the notions of people and the budget do not coexist. MP Aygul Solovyova gave us a 15-minute lecture on how to set up the state budget. She believes the state budget is quite transparent, while the interaction with the population has been long established. All the amendments introduced by the MPs are based on the needs of the population, addressed to them by the people themselves. Remarkably, the people with disabilities show quite vivid interest in public policy. The following is the example of how the Society of the Disabled affected the local authorities. The last two programs, 2006 to 2008 and 2009 to 2011, were adopted in Almaty with direct participation and under influence of Association of the Disabled on the budget. We provided the estimate of how many wheelchairs we need, what is the demand for the individual assistance in the city, and what is the number of taxis for the handicapped required, etc. The Association of the Disabled didn't make it to the budgetary discussions in 2013. However, they're going to catch up next year.
Almaty city administration decided to congratulate the workers of social protection system on the eve of their professional holiday. The best were presented with certificates and apartments, but in fact apartments turned to be mortgaged. Find out from the next report how mayor dared to distribute keys of mortgaged apartments.
The Day of Social Worker was marked in Almaty on Wednesday, October 24th. City Mayor Akhmetjan Yesimov used the occasion to hand out diplomas and medals in the presence of around 700 specialists in the field. Yesimov noted that the city has 3 organizations rendering social assistance to the population, and the municipal budget allocated over $46.5 million for these purposes. In his article, 20 Steps Towards the Society of Universal Labor, the head of state said that the last Sunday of October is marked as the Day of Social Workers in Kazakhstan. This year we celebrate it for the first time and hope that it will raise your status in the society. Unfortunately, a representative of the city administration couldn't immediately recall the cost per square meter of housing that was given as bonuses to some of the social workers. It's $500 per square meter. Wait, I'll find out the exact price in just a moment. Yes, it is $677 per square meter. Kamila Isetova is one of the 6 people included in the program Affordable Housing, but she isn't sure that she can actually afford to give to the city authorities. Initially, we signed an agreement where the price of the housing was set at $460 per square meter, but this year they told us that we have to sign a new agreement as a part of the city program, and this time the price was $677 per square meter. I didn't agree with this amount and left the meeting. It is expensive, and I have 3 kids to feed, while my salary is not going up. Still, the most surprising was the fact that nobody knew where the housing in question is located. Even the 6 people that received the keys to their apartments were left guessing.
On the eve of Muslim holiday Eid al-Adha, prices for lamb go up high. Imams urge businessmen to keep prices reasonable, as it is almost a sin to raise the prices for meat of a sacrificed animal, they say. Find out more from the next report.
On Friday, all Muslims across the globe will celebrate the most social holiday in the Islamic world, Qurban Eid, the Day of the Sacrifices. Kairat is selling sheep for the holiday. This year he brought 100 animals from his village. He knows that the price of sheep won't be a concern for customers and his stock will be quickly depleted. These sheep are from Uzanagash. I don't know their strain for sure, but they are thoroughbred. They cost about $500 each, but I can give you a good discount. The animal is yours for just $440. You won't find a better sheep at the bazaar. I have about 100 of them here. Kalijan Zankoyev, the chief imam of Astana, says that the spiritual administration of Muslims won't be double-checking on people since it's not an anti-monopoly committee. Traders may add a little margin to the sheep's price after calculating all the costs related with the business, for example, the transportation of cattle. According to Imam, everyone understands and expects the prices to go up steeply during the holiday. A sheep in the range of about $150 will be sold for $350 during Qurbanite. Instead of paying twice the price, I'd rather prefer to donate this money for a good cause. It is still possible for undemanding customers to purchase a sacrificial animal cheaper, but even then, the lowest bid starts at no less than around $140.
Football players of outside a club of the Premier League Sunkar and Kazakhstan construction workers from KplusTV face the same problem. For several months now, players and workers were not able to collect their pay as their employers are facing financial difficulties. Next report has the details.
The players of Sunkar Football Club, which represents the Almaty region in the top division of the country, haven't been receiving their salaries for several months already. Sultan Nazarbayev is a young team player. There are currently no football players at the training ground, yet they make comments on the situation remotely. You can call the president of the club and he will tell you how much they owe us. Yes, it is true that they owe us money. It is not a secret. The management of Sunkar promises to partially pay off the debt in the next few days. The club is in poor shape financially. Its prime sponsor is the local administration of the region. Our players will receive some of their money before the game with Zhetisu and the rest of it after the game. It will take some time before the end of the month for the regional government to approve the payment. The funds are allocated from the regional budget and it will take them a week or so. So they will get paid most likely after the game with Taldykargan. In the meantime, these construction workers from Kazakhstan haven't been receiving their wages for 5 months as well. The employer, KplusTV, owes over $6,500 to his employees. I have a family with children and I can't afford getting in deeper debts. I've been unemployed for almost 8 months. The employer is not in a hurry to pay off the debt. There are no sufficient funds in the bank account. It turned out that the KplusTV company itself hasn't received the final payment for the project. The project value is $2.5 million, where we still haven't received $365,000 out of it, therefore can't cover the debt for 300 experts and workers. Regional Construction Department sits in the fence, refusing to comment. The employees and the management of KplusTV jointly addressed to the Prosecutor General's office, whereas it is still not clear to whom would the football players of Sunkar address their issues.
Almaty students were fed just for 50 cents. This is just a bit less than the cost of transportation in public transport. The action was held to mark the 78th anniversary of the Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. Find out more from our final report for today.
When else will a student get an opportunity to have a meal for 50 cents if not on the 78th anniversary of the Kazakh National University? One needs to be active during classes in order to get into the canteen among the first. The lunch at the anti-crisis cost consists of hot dish, yogurt, apples, juice, bread and a salad. The food items on the menu were carefully selected. There is nothing greasy and harmful. We wanted to put only healthy food on the menu. It's not every day that a student can eat an apple, yogurt and dairy products in the canteen, and whole meal costs as low as 50 cents. When the chefs learned of the action, they only shrugged their shoulders. Normally an Almaty dweller needs to have bills in order to pay for the meal and not coins. This portion of pilaf costs $2.30. For 50 cents you will not get more than 3 or 4 spoons. This is all we can give for 50 cents. Applying logic, one may say that next year students may also hope to enjoy a 50-cent meal. The holiday comes once a year and one shouldn't skip it as well as classes.
This is all we have time for now. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.